But now, the Today programme. Both quite and fairly often, we get a regular seep of letters about the harsh treatment dished out to politicians early in the morning. But are the BBC's interviewers too hostile? This is from the Today programme on Monday morning, when, for the 8:10 interview, John Humphrys used controversial waterboarding techniques. Just to remind you, waterboarding is not a winter sport, for most people anyway, but an interrogation technique designed to encourage conversation, in much the same way as a machine gun is used to encourage death.
With benefit of hindsight, do you regret that particular campaign, particularly the immigration stuff?
Before we get on to that, I think it is very much important to...
Doesn't it sound to you, even as you say all that, just a wee bit desperate?
I've already laid out the facts on this. The speech...
Is that true?
John Humphrys trying to get a straight answer out of backbench Labour MP for Sefton East, George West. But was the waterboarding technique a step too far? Joining me is writer and broadcaster Matthew Bannister, torture correspondent of the Royal Mail Harriet Jumpjet, and Doric columnist Matthew Parris. Matthew Bannister, first of all, acceptable or not?
Well, on balance, I'd say not. I mean, I know politicians are well practised in avoiding the question, but for me, strapping them to a table, holding cling film over their face, and pouring gallons of water into their mouths is a bit much.
Yeah, what about lesser techniques? On Radio 5, they attach electricity to people.
It's 9:05. Good morning, welcome to the programme. I'm Victoria Derbyshire and Nick Clegg is sitting opposite me. Hello.
Hello.
Leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Can you loosen these straps a bit? They're hurting my leg.
What are your views on the apparently growing sector of faith schools where pupils can be selected purely on the basis of their parents' religion?
Well, that's not a question I can answer.
Do you want that lower? Do you want that... Is that about the right level?
Lower, for God's sake, lower!
Do you want a bit more?
No! Ah!
Matthew Bannister, where do you stand on Nick Clegg's leg?
Well, I think that no part of him should be stood on at all. I can't believe it's come to this. Answers extracted from politicians using torture techniques. Surely no one wants that.
Matthew Parris, you're raising your face.
I am, yes. Look, we all know politicians have been avoiding the questions for years. So when the BBC come up with a surefire way of making them unavoid the question, I think they should be applauded.
But it's inhumane and morally reprehensible.
These people are politicians, for God's sake.
We're running out of time very quickly. Harriet Jumpjet, a final thought from you?
Stop the torture.
Matthew Parris.
Carry on with the torture.
Matthew Bannister.
I'm not sure.
All three viewpoints there, and without me having to hurt anyone. Still to come, audiences warm to the first guest host of I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue.